Hi there, this is Anne Marie, the anti-HR lady, and I just wanted to talk to you guys and answer a question that a couple people have asked me, and so I'm going to answer it in this video. And the question I've been asked a couple of times is, do I need to hire an employment lawyer in order to negotiate my way out of a discriminatory hostile work environment? And my short answer is no, you do not. And I know some of the things that I'm about to say is going to probably piss off some employment lawyers, but I'm giving you my honest opinion. This is not legal advice. This is my opinion, but I say it to you as someone who has worked in human resources for 20 plus years, as well as a person who is licensed and barred to practice law in the District of Columbia. Okay, so why do I say that you don't need a lawyer in order to escape a hostile work environment? Because in my opinion, you don't. Now, are there circumstances in which I think that you should get a lawyer? Yes, I do. And I often do refer clients to attorneys or potential clients and tell them to hire a lawyer rather than working with me, because their specific situation is one where I think that they should. Here are some instances in which I would tell you to hire an attorney. One, if you have already left your employer and you believe that while you were there, they discriminated against you based on you being in a protected class, whether it's race, ethnicity, gender, disability, or religion, or sexual orientation, if you have effectively documented, i.e. you have proof of this, I would definitely tell you to hire an attorney and pursue a wrongful termination claim, right? I think that's better than just walking away and letting your employer off the hook, basically, because if you don't hold them accountable by taking any action against them, you're basically letting them off the hook to continue doing what they're doing. So in an instance like that, where someone comes to me and tells me, I've already quit my job, I always tell them it based on what their situation is and what type of documentation and evidence they have and when it occurred, because that's a big one. I will tell them to talk to an attorney, right? And if I have a referral for them where they live, I give it to them and tell them to contact an attorney. I also would say that if you are in a situation where you're still working for an employer, you have sought to separate with severance, you have presented evidence to your human resources department and asked them to address it, and instead they've retaliated against you and they refuse to negotiate with you, and therefore you feel like you have no other choice but to quit, I would also give you a referral and tell you to talk to an attorney. First, I would work with you to try to help you to present your issues more effectively to HR, and in many instances it works, and HR will give the employee what they need. But in limited cases, and a lot of these are very rare cases where that doesn't happen, I will refer the person to an attorney if I believe that their documentation is strong enough for them to be able to take legal action. In that case, yes, you should get an attorney. Now, the third case in which I think you should hire an attorney is if you simply just want to sue your employer. You are angry and you want to hold them accountable in court and you want to make it public what they did to you, and you don't care how long it takes, that's your objective, then by all means, get an attorney, file a lawsuit, go for it, right? But what I have found is most of the people that come to me have not yet raised their concerns with HR. They just want to leave, and they would like to leave with a separation package that positions them to have financial options at their disposal. Because let's face it, money gives you options. It allows you to decide whether you even want to go back into the workforce, depending on how much you get. It allows you to decide, I'm going to take a month off and not work and really figure out what kind of job I want. It lets you decide, you know what, I think I just want to go start my business and I don't want to ever have to work in an American corporate workplace again. The choice I made for myself. Money gives you the options to do all those things. So what I try to do for my clients is to position them to go to their employer, present their issues effectively, present their documentation, and negotiate a separation with severance. I have helped employees get packages that vary from 3 months, 6 months to a year or more in pay. These things can happen and you can do it without an attorney. I do not represent my clients as their attorney. What I do is I give them advice and I empower them to act for themselves. So Yes, you can hire an attorney, and yes, you should hire an attorney. I often refer my clients to attorneys once we get a separation agreement in place so that they can ensure that an attorney reviews it for them before they sign. I like to make sure to advise them to do that so that they have covered all of their bases. Some of them opt to do it, some of them do not, but I always advise that they do so. Now, that's an instance in which I would say you should consult an attorney, but you're not consulting an attorney to file a lawsuit. You're consulting an attorney to just look at an agreement for you. That's a completely different thing and a different price point than having to hire an attorney to file a lawsuit, right? So I don't want people to think I'm saying this because I think attorneys are bad or that you don't ever need one. I actually think employment attorneys who only represent employees are doing God's work, and I often refer people to employment attorneys who represent employees. But the reality is that sometimes you will be able to work with an employment attorney and they will do the work on contingency and you won't have to pay anything. They will take a part of your award, which is completely appropriate because they need to get paid. They got to eat too. But many other attorneys will require that you retain them. There is a fee. And a lot of times people see that as a barrier to hiring an attorney. A lot of times people don't want to go through a legal process. They just want to leave a bad employment situation. And those are the instances in which I work with people to help them do what it is that they want to do as expeditiously as possible and to get an outcome that they want, which most of the time is simply to get a separation from their employer. That includes financial compensation for them. Now, the financial compensation does require that they sign away certain rights. So I always like to make sure they're educated on what they're agreeing to, that they are negotiating in a way that serves them and not just their employer. And so I coach them and give them advice about doing that. Some people come to me because they just want advice about a separation agreement that has been presented to them by their employer. And I will talk to them about that and often give them referrals to an attorney if that's what I think they need, or give them basic advice about what they are signing and help them negotiate a better deal than what they have been offered. Most of the time they are successful because the thing is, if you don't ask for more, you usually won't get more. But if you know how to ask for more effectively, you will often get more than what you initially thought you could. But do you have to have an attorney to do that? No, you don't. You can do it yourself, but you should definitely not try to do it without advice and support. And so if you can find an attorney that will do that for you for a minimal fee, go for it, right? But do you have to hire a lawyer in order to get out of a bad work situation? Not all the time. And that's the point that I want to make, because I do not want people to not take action because they feel that they have to pay a lawyer to do it. In many cases, you may not even have to do that, as I've just explained. And in many cases, you as an employee can advocate for yourself and get yourself out of the situation that you're in. And what I do and why I do it is because I want you to be an educated employee. An educated employee is the most dangerous thing to an HR department. When they come in contact with employees that know their rights, their behavior is very different than when they're dealing with people that they think don't know anything. And so why I do what I do is because I want you guys to have the information to do what you need to do for yourself, to empower yourself, to put yourself in the driver's seat of your life and your career, and to not allow human resources and your managers to run roughshod over your rights in the workplace, because you actually have rights. You have federal laws that protect you as an employee. There are often state laws that protect you as an employee, and there might even be local laws depending on if you live in a major city or what jurisdiction you live in. And so it's important for you as an employee to educate yourself about your rights, and do not let thinking you need an attorney be a barrier to why you don't educate yourself about your rights. So at the end of the day, it always comes back to you as an employee and your responsibility to look out for yourself, to educate yourself, to know what your rights are in the workplace, and to assert those rights when it is appropriate. Okay? So whether you use an attorney to do that or you work with someone like me to do it, it's your choice. But I just want you to have the information that you need so that you can exercise those rights when you need to. Because at the end of the day, HR is not your enemy, but they're definitely not your friend. I'm Anne Marie, the anti-HR lady, signing off. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.